What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I'm here tonight with a review for Married to Medicine Los Angeles season number 1. This is episode number 5, and this episode is titled The Roof is on fire. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so with this episode, you guys, it picked up where last week's episode left off with Asha and Shanique going back and forth. So Asha, she walks away and she calls Dr. Larry, and she's telling Dr. Larry everything that's Asha said to her. And I'm like, okay. Oh my God, I kind of don't like Asha at this point. Like, instead of you talking to this girl, having a conversation with her, you go off to the side and call your husband. Okay, whatever. You know, I didn't think it was that deep. If you felt like your husband wasn't cheating on you, why? Never. I'm gonna leave it alone because we're gonna talk about it a little bit later when I get to Asha. So we're just gonna leave it alone for this at this point. So then Dr. Noel wants to know. Rewind. So Dr. Noel wants to know, if Asha knew this much information, why would you bring both Asha and, you know, the ex-girlfriend to the party? And Shanique was like, because I talked to Asha and I told Asha that she was coming, but Asha still decided to come. So that was Asha's problem, which it really is Asha's problem. Like, bitch, if she told you, if she gave you a heads up that your husband's ex-girlfriend was coming to the party, why would you then go and you go solo without your husband? Okay. Like, yeah. And then, you know, it felt like they were trying to gang up on Shanique. I'm like, no. This still goes back to Asha. Asha knew. Asha chose to go. So, no. Y'all do not come at Shanique like that is not her problem. That is Asha's problem. Asha's a grown-ass woman. Asha can make decisions for Asha. So, no. Do not come at Shanique like that. So then Imani goes over there where Asha is, and she's like, will you come back to the party? She says, yeah, I'll come back if she apologizes to me. So Imani's like, let me go over and see if she'll apologize. So then Asha do go back over there, and Shanique does apologize to her. I'm like, Shanique, you are better than me, because it would have been like, never gonna get it, 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 and never get it. Like, you would have not gotten an apology from me. The fuck? No. Like, here's my thing when it comes to apologies. I gotta be dead ass fucking wrong to apologize to somebody that I'm not friends with, number one, or they're not my family. Like, and even when it comes to family, like, again, like, I gotta feel like I'm dead ass wrong. Like, I have to know that I was wrong for what I did. If I wasn't wrong, if I don't feel like I was wrong, you're not gonna get an apology, because I'm not gonna sincerely mean it. Like, no, that shit just would never happen. So then, you know, they change the subject and they talk, you know, Britton, she's talking to Jasmine, and she feels like Jasmine has a wall up, and Jasmine like, no, that's not what it is. You know, before I got here, me and Shanique had a conversation, and Shanique was telling me what Imani had said. So then Imani says that, you know, well, yeah, I said your house is like a drug dealer's house. And, you know, then she and Jasmine start to get into one another. And I can kind of understand how Jasmine feels. It's like, her husband's a psychiatrist, and here you are saying that our house is like a drug dealer's house. Like, you don't, like, you just making shit worse for no fucking, you're making shit bad for no fucking reason. So I got where she was coming from. But then, you know, Imani was like, she was saying it in jest and whatnot. And, you know, Jasmine's like, would you have said that if it was a white man's house? And Imani gets upset about that. Like, I would say that regardless of who it was, white, black, Asian, Japanese, Chinese, Lebanese, whatever, I would have said it. And so then Asha chimes in and says something to Jasmine. So then her and Jasmine go, but because she's talking about schooling. And Jasmine like, well, I graduated from such and such school. And she was like, oh, I teach there. Maybe you could take a class from me. And Jasmine like, girl, I would never take one of your B-level acting classes. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. And then, you know, Jasmine said something to Shanique. And I'm like, Shanique was sitting over there minding her business. So why did you even have to address her again? And Shanique was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm out of here. They can have this bullshit. And I was just like, why would you say something to the girl? The girl had apologized to you And I thought y'all had moved the fuck on. Like, why? So, Asha is dramatic as fuck is what she is. And I think that's what it is about Asha that I'm not really 100% jiving with. Is how dramatic she is for no fucking reason. And she wants to know why come nobody had her side. And they're like, yes, we did. And I'm like, even if they didn't have your side, why can't you have your own side? Like, Asha wants people to fight her battles for her. That's how I feel. And I don't like people like that. Fight your own battles. Like, you are a woman. Fight your own fucking battles. It's just that simple. Okay, so now we are going to jump right into Asha. So we see Asha. She is having a conversation with Dr. Larry. She's talking about how she was at a loss for words for the situation that happened between her and Shanique. And Dr. Larry's like, yeah, I'm at a loss for words too. And I'm like, are you really at a loss for words? It just feels like he's hiding something. And I can't put my finger on what it is. It just feels like he's hiding something from her. So then we see in her interview, the producers ask her, did she ever grill him about his ex-girlfriends? And she said, you know what, we did talk about that, but when I brought up the conversation, he's like, oh no, I just want to only talk about you. And I'm like, what? That's a big ass red flag right there. If a guy does not want to talk about his exes, period, like, I'd be like, tell me something. Like, I want to know what your last relationship was. Why didn't it work out? You know, did you cheat on her? She cheat on you? What qualities did she have as a person? You don't have to show me what she looks like, but, you know, just tell me a little about your last relationship so that I know what I'm getting myself into with you. Like again, did you cheat on her? Did she cheat on you? You know, did you guys just grow apart from one another? Was, you know, did med school take a toll on both your relationship? Like, what happened? The fact that he didn't want to tell her nothing about it, like, I'd be like, no, nigga. That is no. Tell me something about her. Something. It don't have to be sexual. Again, you don't have to show me a picture of her. You don't have to do nothing. Just, you know, tell me about her. If not her, tell me about your past relationship. Like, tell me about some relationship so I know, again, what I'm getting myself into. But she was so flattered about it. I'm like, that's all it took was for him to say, I just want to talk about you, looking lovingly in your eyes. You're the only woman for me, and I don't have eyes for anyone else. Like, no. That's why I keep saying it's something that he is hiding from her. I don't know if he got a secret family, what it is, but it's something Dr. Larry is 100% hiding. He is hiding something from that girl, and she don't see it. But if she say so, she seems gullible as fuck. Sorry to say, but she just seems gullible as hell. Okay, so next we see Shanique. She's at home and Dr. Robert comes home. So then they have a conversation about what happened at the party. And she's telling him what happened. He's like, so you went back and repeated what I said? I told you that in confidence. How the fuck was that in confidence if there is a camera in front of you and a microphone over your head? Either a microphone over your head or a lavalier mic attached to you. So okay, but if you want to say in confidence, you're in confidence. Actually, no, they were in wherever they, again, in front of a camera, but that's in confidence. Okay, in confidence. But he says, you know what, I feel like you need to apologize to her. And I agree. She was wrong for what she said. If she felt that way, she could have at least put Asha to the side and had that conversation with her, but whatever. So then we see this scene where Jasmine and Shanique had met up for lunch. I felt like I lost a whole hell of a lot of brain cells into that conversation. I do, however, like Jasmine and Shanique, but listen to them talk to each other one-on-one. It's like, oh my God, they're Valley girls and they sound like really slow and really stupid. I'm not talking about them. It's just the way they talk. Their conversation is not intellectual, putting it that way. Because here you got Jasmine talking about gaining 1.5 pounds and talking about having a nanny. And I'm like, what the fuck am I listening to? Seriously, what the fuck am I listening to? And then I'm like, why does Jasmine have a nanny? I thought you only had one child. I mean, I know kids are a handful, but aren't you a stay-at-home mom? So I was confused at what she needed a nanny for, but okay, we're gonna move on. All right, you guys. So next we move over to Dr. Imani. So Dr. Imani is talking with her husband about her son. Wasn't really paying too much attention to that conversation, so we're just gonna move on from it. So then she starts talking about her, her party, and how she said that Jasmine's house looked like a drug dealer's house. So her husband is like, you know what? I can kind of see where she's coming from with that. Like, you just kind of dissed her. Like, yeah, I understand where she's coming from. And he asked her, "Did you apologize to her?" She says no, because she didn't feel like it was that deep. But it was that deep, because you insinuated that her husband does something illegal, and he could have higher rates than you. He could have more patience than you. He could have celebrity clients. Like, for her to sit there and pass judgment on that man and not know what he does. I mean, she said she knows what a psychiatrist make. Cool. And she's talking about how, if she were to have a house like what Jasmine has, she wouldn't have groceries. Well, that's you. Again, people can have side hustles. Like, shit, I got a side hustle. YouTube is my side hustle from my actual day-to-day job. Like, I have a full-time job, but then I do this part-time. Actually, I don't do this. This is not part-time anymore. This is full-time. But, for her to sit there and make, and I still like Dr. Imani, but I think that was kind of an ignorant statement to make. But, yeah, her husband feels like feels like she should apologize, and I agree with Phil. So then later in the episode, we see Dr. Imani. She is getting a tattoo. It's ether on her ankle area, and she's talking about her party once again. And basically, she's just talking about how she doesn't like to be compared to other people. Okay, that's cool. Well, you kind of compared yourself to them. Okay. Yeah, because you said, you are a psychiatrist and he's a psychiatrist. That's a comparison, but that's neither here nor there. She was talking about by the time, I guess she was Jasmine's age, she had 3 degrees. Congratulations to you. And that's no shade. Congratulations on your 3 degrees. Like, that is a big accomplishment. Like, I have 2. Trying to work on number 3. Number 3 is going to be, actually, I'm working on trying to do number 3 and 4. And those are going to be the hardest 2 that I have to figure out how to do. Like, because working a full-time job is really, it's not stressful. It's just tiring. Like, I have to figure out the time, because the 1 degree that I'm going to go back for my business, my MBA, I have to take accounting and finance and all that kind of shit. And I'm just not good with math like that. And I need to be in class taking, with somebody teaching me how to do this shit so I can pass the class. So then the episode kind of closed. Well, it didn't close out with her, but later in the episode we saw Dr. Imani, and she was talking to her mama. And, she's telling her mama the same thing that happened with Jasmine. And much like her husband, her mama was on Jasmine's side. Like, you kind of did belittle that girl because of the fact that they have 4 Bentleys. Like, you kind of just belittle her, and I feel like you should apologize to her and tell her, tell her how you felt, and just apologize to her, because you were wrong. Like, this whole episode, everybody told her that she was wrong for what she said. I thought that was interesting. And her mom also said you embarrassed that girl, which that is completely true. You did embarrass her. Like, that's the first thing that comes to your mind, is that this house is like a drug dealer's house. Like, I didn't think about it before, but now that I listened to it, I know it wasn't the right thing to say, but yeah, it was wrong. And she does need to apologize to Jasmine for that, because that was kind of a rude statement to make. All right, so next we got Britton. Dr. Britton, that is. So she and Shanique are out looking for houses, and so she tells us that she has a budget of $2 million. I'm like, God damn, how much do y'all get paid being doctors? Like, shit, did I go into the wrong fucking profession? Like, I second guess myself some days. But I do plan on going, on top of going back for an MBA, I do, and I know this is kind of weird that I want to do this, but I do want to learn a little. I want to do nursing, because I want to learn. I want to learn about oncology, because after my grandmother and my grandfather and my uncle had cancer, I wanted to learn a little bit more about oncology. So that's really what that is for me about nursing school. I want to learn about oncology, how cancer how we can get cancer and everything about cancer. I just want to learn a little bit more about it. Although I hate cancer, I just want to learn a little bit more about it. Excuse me for burping. So yeah, the house that they looked at, I'm like, that would be a hell the fuck no for that house that they was looking at. And I think the house was $1 million, and I'm like, what the fuck about that house screams $1 million? That house screams $250,000 to me, but it wouldn't have been me. So then we see Dr. Britton. She's going on an interview for a doctor that does plastic surgery, reconstructive surgery or whatnot. And she's just interviewing with her. And she chose this doctor, because this doctor has an all-female staff. So then Dr. Britton talks about her past in the military and, all the things that she kind of saw when she went to Afghanistan. And I really did like hearing her story. I don't know if I remember hearing Dr. Contessa's story on Atlanta. Probably did, but I probably wasn't paying attention to it. And it's not saying that I don't like Contessa. I do like Contessa, but I just don't remember Contessa's story when she first came on Married to Medicine, Atlanta. Okay. So, yeah, we are going to move on. All right. So lastly, we have Dr. Noel. So we see Dr. Noel. She and her daughter, they go home, Gabby. And, Gabby left school early because Gabby wasn't feeling good, which I've done that plenty of times in middle school. When things just got really tough at school, I would fake like I was sick. I really would fake like I was sick just to go home early. Or if it was something that I wanted to do at home, like if it was a TV show that was coming on and I wanted to see it, I would fake sick and my mom would come get me from school. I did that shit a lot. She knew sometimes that I would be faking. She was like, "You faking." But there were some times that I really wouldn't be faking. Like there would be some times that I would really be sick. But yeah, there were more times that I faked it than I was sick. But Gabby really left because for her, being at this new school, she doesn't see anybody that looks like her. And she just feels out of place. And my heart kind of broke for her. And then Dr. Noel in her confessional, in her interview, was talking about how, if she were to go to the school where kids look like her, she might not get that great of an education, as opposed to her being in the school where people who don't look like her, she's getting a better. I hate how people want to try to placate that, when you put your kids in a public school, they don't get the best education, but when you put them in a private school, they get the best education that money can buy. That's not always the case. Like, I don't believe in that. Like, I went to a high school that was my high school that I graduated from. And mind you, I just said I graduated from high school. I graduated from high school at 17 years old. I was going to do early graduation, and if I had done early graduation, I would have graduated at 16. But I pushed off early graduation and decided to graduate with my class that I started school with. So, like I said, again, graduated high school, 17 years old, went to college, graduated college. Now, my high school that I went to, it is predominantly black. And so actually, I don't know what it is these days, because my high school back then, it was a fair mix of black kids and Hispanic kids. And we had a splash of white kids there. And we had some Asian kids there. Not very many, but we had a few. But like I said again, my high school was predominantly black and Hispanic. So, and I graduated high school. So, and I think I got a great education. It wasn't the best education, and the reason why I say that, because here in Texas, we have a test. Back in the day when I was in school, it was called the TOS test, Texas Assessment of Knowledge, Texas Assessment of. So what did TOS stand for? Texas Assessment of. What the fuck did TOS stand for? Texas Assessment of something and skills, and then then it changed to TAX. Texas Assessment of Knowledge and Skills. I just can't remember what TOS stand for. I'm gonna have to look that up before I go to sleep tonight. But see, when I was in school, that was all that they taught. They did teach us about other stuff, But for the most part, throughout the whole year, they were preparing us for this test that you have to take in, it's either February or March, because you get your test results back in April. So I think it's like early February, early to late February, or it's late February, early March or something like that. And you get your test results back in late April, early May before school lets out. So that's pretty much what they just taught for, was taught for that test every year. So yeah, I mean, I think I got a great education. I definitely did. Again, it just that in Texas they teach for a test that you got to take, and then especially when you get to your junior year of high school, it's our exit test. You have to pass that test in order to graduate. Oh my God, I can't tell. I passed this. The weird part was I passed the reading and writing. That passed that the first time. And then on my second attempt, I passed the science test. I'm like, how the fuck did I pass science? Like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, with the science test, I guessed on that test. I didn't know none of them answers, but I guessed on every last fucking one of them. And then the math test, unfortunately, it took me 3 times to pass that math portion. God, I hated that math portion. Math was like, it took me 3 times to pass the math, but I finally passed it. Needless to say, passed and graduated high school. So yeah, you know, I just don't understand how people can, you know, devalue an education just because it's not in the private schools and whatnot. I just don't understand that part. So then later in the episode, we see Dr. Noel. She's talking to her husband, Aaron, who she's been married to up 2 years. And she's telling him all the things that Gabby has dealt with. And he also says that, you know, she's out of her comfort zone. She doesn't have any of her friends there. And then on number 2, she doesn't see anybody that looks like her. And, you know, I think Dr. Noel should have at least sat down with Gabby and had a conversation with Gabby before moving her to another school. She should have asked Gabby, what do you want? Because ultimately it should have been Gabby's choice. You know, I mean, I can see it if you guys moved outside of, you know, the school zone that she lives in. I could see that. But if you guys still live in the same area and you just want to change her to a different school because you think it's a better education, I think that's a tad bit selfish for you to do that. That's just my personal opinion. But you guys can let me know what you think. Like the video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys later tomorrow for Real Housewives. Ooh, wrong. Love and Hip Hop Atlanta.